Good day everyone, this is Elvin B. Tangaro and this is my presentation in JEC 109. First travel of Rizal in Europe. The national hero Jose Rizal left the country in May 1882 to pursue further studies abroad. He enrolled in a course in medicine at the Universidad Central de Madrid in Spain. In June 1883, he traveled to France to observe how medicine was being practiced there. After his 3-month sojourn in France, Rizal returned to Madrid and thought about publishing a book that exposed the colonial relationship of Spain and the Philippines. This idea was realized in March 1887 with the publication of the novel Noli Me Tangere in Germany. Rizal was actively involved in the propaganda movement composed of Filipinos in Spain who sought to direct the attention of Spaniards to the concerns of the Spanish colony in the Philippines. He wrote articles for publications in Manila and abroad, convened with overseas Filipinos to discuss their duty to the country, and called on Spanish authorities to institute reforms in the Philippines, such as granting freedom of the press and Filipino representation in the Spanish courts. Second travel of Rizal in Europe. Rizal arrived in England in May 1888. In August, he was admitted to the British Museum where he copied Antonio de Morga's massive study of the Philippines, Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas, which Rizal later annotated for publication as a gift to the Filipinos. In the museum, he devoted his time reading all the sources on Philippine history that he could find. He kept up his correspondence with various people, including his family, who were being oppressed by the Spanish religious landowners, the Filipino patriots in Spain, and his Austrian friend, Ferdinand Blumentritt, with whom he planned to form an association of Philippine scholars. From 1888 to 1890, he shuttled between London and Paris, where he wrote ethnographic and history-related studies as well as political articles. He also frequently visited Spain, where he met with fellow Filipino intellectuals like Marcelo H. del Pilar, Mariano Ponce, and Graciano Lopez Jaena. In March 1891, Rizal finished writing his second novel, El Filibusterismo, in France. He planned to publish the book in Belgium, but was financially hard up. His brother's support from back home was delayed in coming, and he was scrimping on meals and expenses. Finally, in September 1890, El Filibusterismo was published in Ghent using donations from Rizal's friends. Meanwhile, a rivalry had ensued between Rizal and Marcelo H. del Pilar over the leadership of the Association Hispano-Filipino in Spain. Rizal decided to leave Europe to avoid the worsening rift between the Rizalistas and Pilaristas and to help maintain unity among Filipino expatriates. After staying for some time in Hong Kong, where he practiced medicine and planned to build a new Calamba by relocating landless Filipinos to Borneo, Rizal came from home to the Philippines in June 1892. Mission complete. With his European tour completed, Rizal made his way to Hong Kong to practice ophthalmology. There, he fulfilled his primary mission to operate on his mother's eyes. He returned to the Philippines in 1892 and established a civic revolutionary group in La Liga Filipina. His thoughts, perhaps still under European societies, that he had idealized. In the years prior to his return, word got around about his novels, making him a target of the Spaniards in the Philippines, and so he was implicated in a rebellion. As a result, he was exiled to Dapitan, where he would complete both his original mission as well as his secret one. By the time he was arrested and sentenced for execution by firing squad in 1896, he was already widely recognized as a patriot and a hero by Filipinos. As a final act of defiance, he returned around to face his Spanish executioners while he was being shot, purveying the immortality of an idea sincerely convinced and practiced with conviction, liberating the Filipinos in spirit. Not long after, liberation from the Spaniards would happen in 1898 and eventually from all colonizers in 1945. Rizal not lived to see the fruits of his secret mission, but the ideas he embodied were central to the revolution that led to the country's independence. He was there the entire time. And that's all. Thank you for listening.